Coop. Temperature rising up. 10 in the morning, time to roll. I'm tempted to tell you the truth, but the timing wrong.
Okay, guys, so this is the first edition of the Damn Good podcast, and our first ever featuree here is Danny Dowling, co-founder of SETI AI.
Hello, hello. Lovely to be with you, boys.
Fantastic, right? Tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you from? Who are you?
So I'm from the UK, born and raised. Actually, I'm not. Well, I'm raised in Worcester, UK. I'm 20 years old, and I'm an entrepreneur. I'm out here in Bali right now. I'm loving life.
Okay, so SETI AI.
Yes.
You co-founded this how many months ago now?
5.5 months ago.
5.5 months ago. Tell us about SETI AI. What is SETI AI?
SETI AI is an AI appointment setter. So most coaches in the space, they have like humans. They have like humans doing the appointment setting. So like messaging their prospects, trying to get them booked onto a sales call, right?
Yeah.
Now, I used to be an appointment setter, and I saw like there's a huge leakage. Like humans naturally, like we need to sleep. We're not always good. Like we're lazy. It's not consistent, right? And that would lead to less sales, less money being made, less book calls.
Yeah.
So I don't know too much about technology, but I went to my co-founder who does, and I was like, look, these conversations should be good enough. Like they're pretty easy. Like they should be able to be done by AI.
Yeah.
So I said, look, is this possible? I gave him some scripts, frameworks, and he came back to me and was like, yeah, it's possible. So I was like, fuck it, let's run it. And it was a lot harder than we actually thought. But here we are 6 months later with a very good product.
Sick, awesome. Man. Sick. And it's, so to clarify for the audience, it's inbound only. It's not outbound. So it's for a coach or a content creator that has people asking questions in the DM, specifically maybe for coaches that are selling through the content. Is it specifically coaches?
Yeah, so I mean, that's our ICP is like coaches. If you use Instagram to like speak to your prospects and like make money from them, then yeah, we can help you. But in terms of the leads, inbound leads, new followers, everyone gets spoken to. We can do cold outreach, but it's against terms of service, so you probably shouldn't do it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. Yeah. What was sort of the aha moment that made you commit to building the product? Like when you first had the initial hypothesis for something that you could build here, what was like, oh, we're going to go all in on building this?
Bro, good question.
Or did you have an MVP before you went and fully built the product?
Yeah, I think that was it. It's like we're building an MVP. Is this possible? We had a big list of things like, can it get tonality right? Can it like be emotionally intelligent? Can it know when to ask a question, when not to? We had that as the MVP, and it was like okay. So I was like, oh shit, like we actually do have something here. Like we had just found someone on Upwork, like it was a kind of a slap together job. And then we took it more seriously. We hired someone full time who is like an amazing, amazing developer. And we're like, yeah, like it's time to go all in on it. So yeah, I think it's like when we saw the MVP working to a decent extent and we hadn't put like loads and loads of effort into it, we're like, okay, cool. If we put a lot more capital towards this and we have really good developers that know what they're doing, we've got a winner here. So we went all in.
And how many developers did you have to kind of go through to find the right one?
Yeah, hiring is a difficult thing for people starting businesses. How did you have to churn through a lot of people to find a good developer?
Yeah, bro, we got really lucky. So like we did it in an interesting way. It's actually a very good like piece of advice. If you're ever trying to hire someone, try and get them on success basis for like the MVP. Yeah. So you can kind of vouch to see if they know what they're doing. And we had to go through like 4 or 5 people. We got really lucky though. Like 4 or 5 people is not a lot.
Yeah.
And then we found Josip, who's our lead developer from Croatia. And since then he's flown out here. We're going to go stay with him in Croatia. And he's in the team properly.
That's incredible.
That's so sick.
Yeah.
And so the platform you're building through, is he like hard coding stuff or is it more like sort of vibe coding?
It's both. I mean, bro, you'd be stupid not to use AI to help you code in this day and age. But like, yeah, it's both. You need to have knowledge on what to do, but use AI to help you 100%.
Interesting.
Do you feel like you're almost at the final product yet, or have you got a lot more progress to make to make it that final?
I don't think there really is like a final product, to be honest. Like in the future, you're going to have voice notes that are like AI, but it sounds exactly like the coach. like for the whole conversation. You're going to have videos that look exactly and sound exactly like the coach, but for the whole conversation, but it's AI, you know?
Yeah.
And that's just going to keep on going until like video calls, that's just going to keep on developing.
Exactly. And that'll let you keep growing, you know, and it'll give you more ventures to adapt into.
Yeah, exactly, bro. Exactly. But like in terms of the product being good enough and being better than humans, like, yeah, I'd say we're at that now. Yeah.
So in terms of like other people doing this, like competitors and stuff, what sort of sets SETI apart from the other guys in the space trying to do this?
Good question. I mean, there's like different levels of competitors. So this is our own software, right? So that's one thing. We have competitors who like white label other software.
Yeah.
So of course it's less customizable.
Yeah.
If there's an error, and it can't really do anything, it's not their software, right? So there's those kind of competitors. Then you have people who use like workflow. It's not really like white labeling it. You have like workflow competitors where it is white labeled software, but it's more customizable. You have the same issue. Like if there's an error, you can't really do anything. So like your product's bad, and then it's limited as well. So what you'll see with a lot of these like softwares, which it isn't actually their own software, which is, by the way, no shade at all. I think it's brilliant that people do it.
Yeah.
But what you'll see is limitations. So like, for example, one of the softwares people like to white label, you can only send 2 text boxes.
Yeah.
Your aim is to like speak like a human. You need to have fluidity. Sometimes you're going to send one thing, like one word. Sometimes you're going to send 6 boxes. Sometimes you're going to send a GIF, a video, a voice note. We can do all of these things. But that's only in like the technical shortcomings of their stuff. The other thing is like they don't have the ability to not train the AI, but they don't have the ability to manipulate the AI in a way where it has a deep understanding of this person. And of course, again, that's what appointment setting is. So we have that advantage. Yeah. But then there are other people who are direct competitors. I think we have an advantage in our team.
Yeah. So SETI is sort of your ICP is sort of coaches and stuff, and the coaching space is very big now. Sort of on Instagram, less so maybe on TikTok, and the space has blown up massively over the last few years. Especially people getting into coaching deliberately, maybe sort of building an audience just so they can coach other people on how to build an audience. So where do you think the space is going over the next 2 years?
Everyone knows that trust is like at an all-time low for this industry. I think that's going to increase. Like trust is going to get even lower and even lower. And I think you need ways to combat that. Voice notes, videos, realness to be there.
Do you think that the amount of creators that can do this is going to decrease? Do you think that maybe a smaller group of maybe larger creators or people that can build and maintain trust is going to surface?
So do I think there's going to be a smaller pool of people that have trust?
Yeah.
No, I think it's always possible to get trust. Who knows the future? There's too many like variables. It's a hard question. My personal take is like we're always going to be able to get trust. The ways of gaining those bits of trust is going to change, but like one potential thing that happens is that AI advances to a level where like all content or 99% of content out there is AI generated. And at that point in time, people need to know that person doesn't use AI to trust them. For their content, that is. So maybe there's a finite time period where it's like 2 or 3 years, however long it takes for AI to just completely take over our Reels, our TikTok, our feeds, where people can build that trust, because otherwise they don't know if it's a real human. But to be honest, I don't take that point of view. Like, there's always going to be a way to build trust. Like live videos, for example, you're always going to be able to do that, or real meet and greets. Damn good get-togethers. Like, you can't have AI in the real world, right? It's not
Do you
Ryan is in front of me right now, you know.
Yeah, and I think that's a sort of a trend that we're moving towards in the spaces, and maybe moving towards in the general sort of the macro market of the creator space and sort of online social media, is the move to more sort of human connection, the move towards in-person experiences, because of the advent of AI, and it's just going to get worse, to be fair. So yeah, I don't know, where do you sort of see platforms going in relation to AI content? When AI content is one for one, what do the platforms look like when that arrives?
Yeah, I think there's a lot of noise, first of all. Like, there's just you'll be able to be like, make me a video that's me sitting by a pool in Bali with Ryan, you know, like, and you'll be able to do that. So there's going to be a lot of noise, a lot of shit that's just like completely fake. But then again, you're going to have the people who we already know, we already trust, that we know aren't AI on the platform, that you can trust. Does that make it harder for new people to like enter the space? Probably, but there's going to be ways. I'd be lying if I said I know the ways right now. I don't know, but there's going to be ways to build trust. Like, that's just the way. Yeah, that's the way I see it going. There's always going to be a way to build trust. Yeah. Who knows if it is strictly using Instagram or using TikTok? I think you're going to have to be like more in person going forward.
Yeah,
and I feel like what you said there about smaller creators like trying to come up in the space, it might make it a little bit more challenging, but you never know, it might, you know, remove some people from the market and provide more opportunities to provide these cool events, and in-person, you know, physical events.
100%. I mean, like, first of all, the market's huge already. Like, we're talking about the people who are known in the space already. They're going to keep trust. Like, the market's huge. So there's already like a huge market. Our business is not going to struggle because of it. It's more about new people. They have to go different ways to get trust.
Yeah.
But no, social media I see it being there for the rest of my existence anyway. It will evolve, but...
Do you see possibly platforms bringing in human verification for certain parts of the platform?
Exactly.
I know that OpenAI acquired a biometrics company that looks to scan your iris for verification of human.
I absolutely hate that, but yeah, like there's going to be ways of that happening, I'm sure. But I hate that, bro. That's horrible.
Yeah, right. And you have some good concepts surrounding like the dystopia of the future and other potential things that could happen that maybe bring it into a utopia eventually.
It's evolving so quickly. It is scary, and it's scary for us, and we're in a space where we can adapt very quickly. But I think it's even scarier for people that just like are sort of in regular jobs and stuff. It is a scary existence. I mean, Amazon's looking to offload 70% of their workforce by 2030 to robotics. That's like 700,000. I don't know how many employees Amazon has now. They have like 1.5 mil last time I checked. Like a ridiculous amount of jobs in the US can be offloaded, and then you got all of the self-driving cars, and that removes all of Uber. They'll have to change for that. It's just a ridiculous. And sort of in the next 5 years, we're looking at like half of 50% of the workforce completely going.
It's a weird future. Like, yeah.
It is dangerous because we advance towards a future that we're not ready for at all. Like we're built upon industrial principles. The education system is built upon the industrial age. Like we're meant for human capital. A person trains up, they go to a business. The business gives them $1, they profit another $1, they make $2 off it. But we're in an age that doesn't work anymore. But we're still using the same education system that exists for. Which is dangerous. We're not prepared for the advancement, the sort of pace that we're going at right now.
I'd say it's just more important than ever. If you're someone like us, if you have control over your future, don't go the normal route.
It's actually the riskiest thing you possibly do is trying to take no risk and going to like university.
100%.
And it's such like a typical thing to say for like people like in our space and stuff, but like it is so unbelievably true.
It's true.
Like I couldn't imagine a more risky thing than going to uni and going into a profession which very, very most likely will not exist in 5 years' time.
I'm not sure if you have, like, I was speaking to some of the friends that go to uni, and don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with going to uni. It's not for me personally. I respect everyone that goes to uni.
There's jobs that need it and stuff. Like
exactly. I'm not going to an AI doctor. It's not happening, right? So, but again, I mean, even if you're not a doctor, I respect the fact you go to uni, right? But like, I'm speaking to the people who go, and they use AI for coursework. It's what are you really learning? You know, like it's more life skills than actual skills needed for work. So yeah, look, I think that in itself is like obviously saying, don't go to uni, like do your own thing, break the curve. You're going to need to.
Exactly.
Otherwise, your future's not as solid as you may think it is, you know?
Where do you see sort of AI impacting education stuff in terms of, not in terms of the from an institutional standpoint, more from a individual standpoint, in terms of people using AI, like the way the brain improves and the way the brain learns is dramatically reduced when they're using AI. Like if like a 12-year-old kid is getting homework, he's just chucking it into AI and stuff. Now that everything's on like Google Classroom, like I know in like my past school they don't use paper at all now. It's just Google Classroom. Do you think that we're now sort of going to be raising a generation that isn't capable, like an incapable generation?
Yeah, I was speaking to Seb a few weeks ago about something to do with this. It's like the people who were in primary school, like 4 or 5 years old in lockdown, first of all, their like brain chemistry is fried. Like if they're like scrolling TikTok in lockdown at 4 years old, their brain, like their cognitive development is like, I'm not a neuroscientist, but I know that it's affected, right? And in a very bad way. In terms of AI as well, like, yeah, you're right. Like if people use AI, they're not retaining the information. They're not learning anything. But an argument towards that is like, do you need to, like, this information? If you can just do it with AI, do you actually need to?
Yeah, but then do you think that sort of, I don't know, okay, maybe I'm overgeneralized, but maybe that moves us towards a sort of, have you read Brave New World?
No.
Sort of moving toward like a Huxleyan sort of a future, a utopia, but more of a dystopia where no one really does anything, but everyone's sort of just in pleasure. Like no one specialized, no one does any jobs.
We need to focus on different things, I think. Like human connection. Like I can't be sitting here speaking to AI right now. Like, are you developing social skills? That's fucking important. Are you developing a true understanding of how people think? Can you read someone's body language? Like these things, you need to be able to do. You don't need to be able to like know what the weather is, you know, or you don't need to be able to do some really complex maths. So it depends how you look at it.
And I feel like it's a time where, you know, educational institutions like universities need to be taking on AI and really considering the options into how they can utilize it rather than push against it. Like if they are going to, you know, allow students to use AI, they need to be able to know, well, they're going to know that students are using AI now for everything. They're not going to retain the information like they used to, and they're not going to be able to be tested like they used to provide actual valid qualifications, you know. I feel like a lot of people who are now going to university, they can kind of cruise by. I mean, obviously there is very difficult courses out there, I'm not going to deny that. I feel like if I went to university, I'd probably struggle, you know, harder than a lot of people. But I feel like institutions, especially at a high level, need to be adapting the way that they test and incorporating, you know, AI and the future of AI into the way that they're testing people and teaching people. You know, they should be making AI proof almost ways of using AI to educate rather than, you know, pushing against it and being like, you're getting removed from the university if we catch you using ChatGPT.
100%. I agree. And yeah, I just think it's crazy times. I'd be sitting here lying to you both if I said I knew what the future looks like. No. Anyone is. I have no idea. I think it's going to be a huge societal change, and I think it's like the effect of it will be bigger than any of us can even think of. Like, is UBI going to be a thing? Universal Basic Income, is that going to be a thing? I think so. What 100%. Does that mean? You know, like,
I don't think it's possible. Like the pace we're moving and stuff, that we won't be able to move to a future where UBI isn't a thing.
And what does that mean for the currency? Like, what does that mean? I don't know. I think like all I know is that the need to be self-sufficient and set yourself right now is greater than ever, because there's probably going to be a time in the future where, unless you have a lot of money or you have a lot of influence or power, some form of something valuable, you're not going to be able, like, you're not going to have the freedoms that you have now.
So someone that's starting out in this and wanting to do sort of online business, wanting to be self-sufficient, not wanting to go maybe down the typical route, maybe they're uncertain about sort of the future with AI and everything. What is your advice if they have £1,000, $1,500 in their pocket? What should they do to set themselves up that in 5 years' time they're going to be okay and they're not going to be completely fucked backwards?
One main thing: buy my course. Like, first of all, buy my course. I'll set you up. No, for real though. Like, learn a high income. And it's just like people already know this, but actually do it. Like, learn a high income skill. What do you like?
How do they learn that high?
By doing
do
it,
they
bro.
go to someone else to teach it to them, or do they try and figure it out themselves? And
You can go multiple different ways. You need to do it though. You need to do it.
not just say you're doing it.
Not just
And go
no. I mean, like, okay, you can learn a skill. I'm not gonna hire someone as my ads person if they've learned how to do ads but haven't done ads, right? Like, go and do ads. Go and do sales. Go and do a
How
high
do they
income
go and
skill.
do sales if they haven't got any experience?
You get into a shitty job. To hustle for a bit. You've got to do it. Hustle for a bit. I mean, choose something that you've got like a better chance of being good at. Like, if you know you're social, you know you're good at speaking to people, go and do sales.
Yeah.
If you know you're more analytical, go and do programming. I mean, you can, a lot of this stuff you can teach yourself for free, like the fundamentals. And then you can go, maybe lie a tiny bit, a few white lies here and there, get a shitty job and hustle, and then get onto a better job.
You've got to bullshit your way in.
Sometimes.
The beginning.
You got to fake it till you make it.
You
really,
have
for
got
the
to
whole
fake it
process.
till you
Sometimes,
make it
but-
a reasonable degree with this
Yeah,
sort of
yeah.
stuff. If you go out by yourself and you try other stuff, you've got to bullshit at least a little bit at the beginning. Everyone does it.
Damn right.
It'd be weird if you didn't. If you try and play by the book and try and exactly tell the truth, like, you just will get out competed by the people that tell white lies, but still get the job done
Exactly.
better than you anyway.
If you are applying to a job, your first sales job, I've done this. I'm not saying it's brilliant advice, but I've done this myself. If you're applying to a job and you lie on your CV, you either get the job because you've, like, you're not gonna. How do I put this, bro? if you're trying to apply to a job, you lie on your CV, right? You either get found out and you are in the exact same position you're in now, or it helps you get the job, and it's probably gonna help you get the job as long as you know how to lie well. But it's not a brilliant bit of, like, I don't know. Like, it's not an amazing piece of advice, but it can help get the first thing happening.
Just get your foot in the door. That's the
Yeah,
thing.
yeah.
I think, like, as long as you can be confident in yourself that you're going to be able to excel and show the drive to the person who's hiring you, then, you know, if you're comfortable at providing that service, then there's no major ethical consequence or issues with it. Really.
Yeah, exactly. I think actually the first thing as well, like, if you've got 1.5k, like, the main thing is, like, regardless of the money, is, like, sort yourself out first. And that's, sort yourself out. Like, you need to be able to, like, do hard work. I mean, it's all the obvious stuff that everyone knows to do, but, like, actually doing it. Like, you need to put yourself out there. You need to do hard work. You need to learn. You need to actually have a skill that you can provide to people. You need to do the hard stuff.
Yeah.
That's pretty much it. Like, everyone kind of knows what they need to do.
Exactly.
Go and fucking do it.
And I think a lot of people who are first beginning in business, they're, like, almost afraid of the job word, like, afraid to just have a job in the background. And of course it's limiting, and of course it limits your time to put into a business. But if you're not, you know, secure in yourself and secure in, like, your living situation, don't be afraid just to get a simple job, like a sales job, something that you can work, you know, on a performance basis, something that you can choose when you work, something that can just keep you alive, keep you going,
Yeah, exactly.
and that gives you enough time to sustain yourself and then put that into a business. And it's great to have a little bit of cash flow at first. If you've got a little bit of cash flow coming in, it can really help to scale that business up with just little things, you know, like your domain, your website, you know, all these small costs. Whereas if you're like, yeah, I'm quitting my job, and now you're like, oh no,
Got no
I haven't got a
cash flow,
job,
yeah,
I've got
exactly.
no money coming in, and my business is moving slower than I thought it was going to move, then it's a little bit harder because then it can bring you back to ground zero. Whereas if you just have a little job on the side there, people will have conflicting interests, conflicting points on this. You know, I remember the Gymshark founder, he was mentioning, it's great to have a correct type of job in the background. For example, if you're working at a restaurant, you know, and you're speaking to high value people, we're talking like a top 50 in the world restaurants. I mean, not top 50, but a 5-star restaurant. And you're talking to, like, high value people, discussing points with them. You know, not only is it might give you some tips as well, but not only is it a great opportunity to build up your network and connections, but it'll still bring you in some income on the side while you're building up a business
Facts, bro.
at the same time.
Facts.
So I think
Yeah.
people are a bit too afraid of the job word when thinking about business.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I did.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Had a job, put it into ad spend, put it into developing.
Yeah.
That's the way to go, bro. I completely agree.
So, for someone maybe sort of starting out and they've got a little bit of traction with what they're doing at the moment, wherever that be sort of that coaching, or they've got a sort of business, maybe like marketing or anything like that, they're just getting a little bit of traction with what they're doing. Sort of, what's your sort of ethos on co-founder versus going full solo and just grinding out yourself?
Look at the business you've got. Where do you want it to be? Like, how far are you trying to get it? Be honest with yourself as well. Like, personally, for me, I need Seb, not just because the business we're building is going to be fucking huge and we need people doing different things, but like, I need the accountability. Or that's what I needed at the time. So like, be honest with yourself. Are you going to stick to it more consistently if you have someone else there? If so, cool. That's a big thing. Don't underestimate that. The business that you've got, like, where are you trying to get to? Are they going to be like, are you going to be completely overwhelmed? Because if you're inexperienced and you don't know how to delegate properly, like for you, then maybe it helps to have someone else. Even if you're not like being super efficient, like you can give them some other things to do. And you have sales and he has the product, you know, for example. Basically, the question I'd ask is like, what is going to help me and the business be more consistent? And if that answer is, yeah, you know what, I've got loads of shit to do, I'm going to be overwhelmed, get someone on. If the answer is, you know what, me personally, I need someone for accountability, get someone on. But if you don't need either of those things, cool, do it yourself, you know.
Would you recommend a 50-50 equity split?
It depends, bro. It depends on the business, but yeah, like, yeah, sure,
Yeah.
why not? Like, if I think that the real thing is choosing who you do it with. Like, I'm incredibly lucky to have Seb. Like, we are absolutely aligned on where we want to be.
So, quick fire questions. Let's go. Okay, so what is the first app you open in the morning?
Chrome, Google Chrome.
Google Chrome. Okay, what's your coffee order?
Black coffee,
Black.
maybe one sugar.
Okay, okay. One word that describes your business right now.
So investable.
So investable.
Ooh, so what's the best creator in the entrepreneurial space right now?
2, Nick setting, Max in-house.
One piece of advice you give to your younger self.
Quick, Danny. Do what you're doing. Keep on doing what you're doing.
Awesome.
Okay. One unpopular business opinion.
Even if it doesn't make direct business sense, reward the people around you who are there from the start.
What's your opinion on work-life balance?
You should have a job that you want to be your life. My business is my life. I love it. I'm going to do it a lot more than anyone. So,
Have you ever been in love?
no.
Indeed.
No, it's good. I like it.
Good question.
Go-to productivity hack.
Nicotine and coffee. And caffeine, yeah. Nicotine, caffeine.
What's your favorite social platform?
Oh, God. I don't like social media. All really addictive, but Instagram, I guess. YouTube. Yeah, YouTube.
Have you had any I made it moments so far?
Yeah, bro, when I think I could have left my job, that was fucking sick.
Nice. One thing you'd outsource tomorrow if you could?
Customer support.
One thing that you wish people knew before they start an online business.
Sales matters a lot. I was speaking
skill
to...
of sales.
Pardon?
The skill of sales.
Just sales matters a lot. Like, I was speaking to some people yesterday who are disqualified leads, but like, I give them advice, and it's not like they're not really selling anything, they're just making content. You need to sell.
What's one habit you're trying to break?
I am trying to break phone addiction, I guess.
Yeah. What's your worst ever business purchase?
Unprofitable ads.
Yeah.
But like, yeah, I don't know.
What is the weirdest DM you've ever received?
I was doing like some travel content before, and I had some weird dudes message me. Let me just put it like that. I had some weird fucking dudes. Any creator you know who's a man, decent looking, they have gay boys like messaging them, especially fitness coaches. I'll leave it like that.
What's the last risk that you took?
Last risk I took. Coming on this, I guess.
Yeah.
Most recent one, yeah.
Who's your least favourite entrepreneur influencer in the space right now?
Oh my god. I don't have a creator, but some of the appointment setting agencies sell a dream that ain't there.
True. I was even involved with that back in the day.
Yeah.
2 years ago, 3 years ago now, I was sold on by one of these boys. And yeah, it wasn't the most enjoyable time.
Yeah.
What's one ethical line in people's content or businesses that you think too many people cross?
I think people don't give like the full picture enough. They don't explain what's
A
actually
sliver of the truth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They don't explain like what it takes.
Yeah. What business model do you think is complete nonsense?
Some agencies. I think I'll just change the like software is beautiful. More people should look at software.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Yeah,
Danny
thank you.
Dowling.
There you go.
Thank you very much, sir.
Thank you.
The first damn good podcast.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate it, man.